All right, here we go. Welcome to This Week in the Mixer, episode 214, 213. It's draft week, and we got some big NFL news to talk about, so gonna get straight into it. Haven't prepared too much, so we'll see how this goes. First off, big news, Andrew Luck retiring. Nobody really saw it coming. Apparently he had been going through maybe some personal issues, as Mason said. Fans with sources on Reddit say that his marriage was a little bit rocky last year, I guess, or the year before when he was injured, unable to play. I guess he said that saved his marriage, so maybe last season it wasn't so well when he was back in the NFL. He had suffered a lot of injuries. His rehab with his current injury didn't sound like it was going well. The team was being quiet on it, and they were being quiet on his recovery from his last big injury, I guess 2 seasons ago, heading into last year. That's why I made the water bet with Jeff that Luck was going to play less than 8 games, or wouldn't play more than 8 games last season. He ended up playing the whole season, so nailed that one. But my estimation of the situation as something was up, something wasn't quite right. Looks like, post me losing the bet, seems to have been validated somewhat. So this is me taking my maybe not necessarily taking a victory lap, but at least like undoing my shame lap for getting that one so wrong last season. There was clearly something up, and the main thing is it sounds like the weight of the injuries, his personal life, the pressure of being an NFL quarterback, it seemed like it was weighing on him a lot, and he had already made quite a large he's made a lot of money. He made close to $100 million, somebody said, probably more with endorsements. He was owed $48 million left on his contract, plus undoubtedly, presuming health, he could have got another contract with, he could have easily made another $100 million on top of that. So he's sacrificing quite a bit, and it seems like it's for his own personal health, mental health, family health, and more power to him. It takes a lot of courage to give up something you're good at, to give up that guaranteed paycheck, although he's not going to be in need of money, assuming that he saved up and wasn't living outside his means, not engaging in frivolous spending like a lot of NFL players do. It seems like I've heard he has a lot of interests outside of the NFL, and who knows what's next for him. But I think if this was bouncing around in his mind, and clearly it was, it's the right decision to make. Some people have said that it was wrong of Luck to retire. He should have played at least one extra year, let the team and fans know, which is it's just a bad take. But I would argue that I feel like the team ownership did know about his troubles rehabbing. I'm sure they knew if there were personal issues. I'm sure they were aware of it. A franchise quarterback like that, you're going to know almost everything that's going on inside the guy's head. And if he hasn't said it explicitly to ownership, to the GM, to Irsay, the owner, then at least they're picking up on, hey, something's not 100% right with Luck. Like, he's an awesome player, but we should have contingency plans in place. It's not like they could have drafted a quarterback to be in the wings anyway. Maybe it does kind of forego this season. A lot of people picked them as their Super Bowl pick, so now they're probably a fringe playoff team at best. They have the Texans in that division, but the Texans are always fighting for that 6th seed, so we could see a team win the AFC, the South, which really makes sense with a team from Indianapolis being there. But we could see a team winning this division at 8-8 or 9-7. A lot of people think the Texans are going to take that next step, but I don't know. Injuries always seem to hit them. See Lamar Miller, and same thing on the defensive side of the ball. J.J. Watt gets hurt a lot, playing as hard as he does. They got a mobile quarterback who may be more susceptible to injury. So, I don't see them being a 10-11 win team, but we will see. Circling back to that take about Luck shouldn't retire. He should wait it out another year. It's just if that's going on in your head, you're not gonna play with your heart in it, and he's retiring because of the injuries. You're gonna risk another year of taking on like another serious injury that legitimately may cripple you for life. We've seen what's happened with Teddy Bridgewater, Alex Smith, Stan Humphries. A lot of these guys have injuries that they're going to carry through them with them through life, and Luck already sounds like he has some. I guess he already has arthritis in his shoulder. Watching All or Nothing, you've seen Cam Newton. He had shoulder issues 2 years back, and then last season it was still bothering him. He played through it a little bit. Apparently he's healthy now, but it's hard to believe that he's walking around fine during the week. He might get up for games, but anyway, I just it's his body, it's his life, it's his family, it's his decision to make. He doesn't owe anything to the Colts organization. He doesn't owe anything to the fans. He owes everything to himself, everything to his family. So, if that's your takeaway from this situation, then I think it's time to look at the perspective you have, see what you value, and just think about putting yourself in those shoes. If it was your future at risk, your family in jeopardy, you've already made $100 million. What would you do? What would you do? So, and I want you guys to think about that, and especially when you're saying my takes are bad. you guys are trashing my take about you know not exactly being on board with a song by Neil Diamond that may or may not imply pedophilia. So yeah, I mean, whatever you do, if you're a fan of that song, definitely don't Google Neil Diamond or Sweet Caroline pedophilia. Definitely don't do that. It's something I've been sitting on for a year or two now, but I don't want to pop anybody's bubble or ruin anybody's enjoyment of something, they that they get a smile from. Definitely don't Google that. I just hate to see that. So that's gonna wrap up our Andrew Luck conversation. Got some more NFL news. Eric Williams of ESPN.com, the beat writer for the Mega Markets Los Angeles Chargers, included Melvin Gordon in his 53-man roster prediction for, when he's going for clicks, constructing what he predicts the 53-man roster would be. This guy's been the ESPN.com Chargers beat guy for a while. Well, actually, I think he's just the AFC West beat guy for ESPN.com. I believe that's how they break it down. So I've read this guy's stuff for a while. He's really had no insight on the Chargers. I can't remember anything in particular that he's ever said that I was like, oh yeah, well, that makes sense, or that's some insight I couldn't get I couldn't get elsewhere. So I believe he was a big Ryan Matthews guy, so yikes. So I don't think this guy has any inside knowledge. I think Melly G is going to be out till week 9. Similarly, I don't think Zeke is going to report before the first game. I guess today, actually, maybe even in a few hours, the Chargers can file for a roster exemption for Melvin Gordon. I'm not sure if it applies for Zeke as well, but basically it's so that they don't have to they don't get dinged. They don't have to put him on the 53-man roster, which is probably what prompted this guy's I think the deadline to cut to 53 is just before week 1 sometime. But anyway, I think the deadline to file for roster exemption is today. So the Chargers can file for that roster exemption so that they don't have to carry him on the 53-man roster whenever that deadline is. And they would also, if they file, not have to pay him for the preseason, and I think they can keep him on there until like week 3 or something, I remember, or maybe they have to carry him on there on the roster exemption list into week 3. So we should have some clarity today. Me sitting with the 5 pick, watching this very closely, would really love to see Melvin or Zeke report, deep in that running back pool a little bit, give us a little more clarity. That's what we really want. But unfortunately, I don't know if it's in the cards. I would say it's less than a 20% probability that we would have any of that before we draft. So this is fine. This is fine. What else we got? We got the draft coming up. T-minus 4 days, 5 days, depending on if you count today. Got to figure out what time the draft is. And then, I tell Belinda it starts maybe an hour or two earlier. so I can maybe get there on time when the draft starts. If I can step away from baby duty. But yeah, I'm excited. I thought about, I have like 3 rounds of a mock draft of everybody's picks. I got some good ones in there. I think I had Anthony taking Andrew Luck at the turn. I think I had him going Mahomes and Luck at the turn. But now that Luck's out, we're just going to swap in Jacoby Brissett. Should be fine. Totally what's going to happen. And yeah, so maybe I'll get to that before the end of the week. It's been crazy lately, a little bit at work. So I haven't been able to do as much. I haven't been able to put as much work into this as I usually do. I thought about maybe I can do quick top 5 things to do on your draft day. Let's see. I thought of a few while we're driving here. You definitely got to shame people when they're using too much of the clock to make their picks. We have our dynasty draft each year. It's kind of like a gentleman's agreement. There's no clock, right? So yesterday, Jake took 12 hours to make his pick. So that was fun, and it was 12 hours during the day. I think Matt made his pick at like 8:30 a.m. and then Jake maybe even 13 hours. I think he made his pick around like 9:30. So we got through two picks yesterday in a 5-round draft. So yeah, clicky draft. I think it pauses once the timer runs out, but fully expect to be shamed if you're taking up too much of that time. Other things to do at your draft, if you don't have at least a 6er of White Claw by your side, well, actually, if you don't show up to the draft already 6 claws deep, then you're just doing it wrong. Third thing, what do we got? Just really any opportunity you have to shame your opponents, to bully them into making their homer picks a little too early is definitely a good strategy. Trashing the out-of-towners, it's also good. They're not there to defend themselves. It's maybe a little unhealthy, but it's entertaining. It's our Christmas. I had a few more, but maybe I'll just save them for the next one. So there's 3 ideas for your draft day. It's gonna be fun. We'll see who shows up. By my count, we'll have Jeff there probably for the first 2 rounds at least. So that'll be nice. We'll have myself, Matt, Danny. Jess will be there. So yeah, at least we'll all have comfortable seats, So there's a little bit of bright side there. But yeah, looking forward to it, guys. Maybe this is part 1 for the week, and I could get in that mock draft Friday or something. So that's gonna be it for now. Got to get to my physical therapy appointment so I don't end up like Andrew Luck, retiring early because of shoulder issues. But yeah, catch you guys later. Let's get it. See ya.